Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a beautiful blue iris. I took this photo from our garden. This color is my favorite flower. Favorite color, favorite flower, love it. I'm so excited to paint it with you tonight. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat, so if you've got questions while we're painting tonight, you can ask those and we'll try to answer. Let's get started. All right, so I'm starting out with the black canvas. This is a really ambitious project, so I'm giving myself as much head start as I can. We're starting out with black. This is just carbon black. Any black will do. I'm using a Pro Cotton canvas from Fredrix. This is the 10 by 10 inch size. Really, any size that you like will do just fine. We are going to use chalk to draw out on our design here, and like I said, it's usually these projects take me a couple 2.5 to 3 hours, so we're trying to get it done in 2 hours tonight. So time's a cracking. We're gonna just mention a few brushes here. We've got some Filberts in different sizes, a couple round brushes, and I'll probably do some of my blending with the blender brushes on the petals. Those will probably be our workhorse brushes, and I've got a couple of angle brushes also in case we need to do some smaller details, so in like 3 different sizes there. So I'll mention the brushes as I use them if Mark can remind me. Let's go over our colors. We've got carbon black, burnt umber. This one's carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna, Quinacridone Magenta, Cadmium yellow light, Phthalo green yellow shade, Phthalo blue green shade, Ultramarine blue, light ultramarine blue, that's just ultramarine blue plus white, that's pre-mixed, Dioxazine Purple, Unbleached Titanium, Titanium White, and Gloss Glazing Liquid. All right, let's jump in here. As always, we'll save our questions for the very end unless I missed something about the project as we go, and then Mark will interrupt, and we'll probably talk about other random things too as we go along too. So welcome if you're new to our channel. Really glad to have you join me tonight, and yeah, we're hoping you'll stick around and come back, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, so right smack dab in the center is our center of our flower. We're going to just make a V shape. That's going to be kind of where our petals are all tucking down into our stem area. And on the iris, they have these little bulb-like protrusions along the long stem. So we're going to do one there that kind of is visible a little bit like that. And then the rest is just going to go off the canvas here. And I'm just using white chalk, like I said. Yeah, that looks about right, I think. Okay, so all of our petals are going to be tucking down into there. This one over here is going to come down to right on the 3rd-ish, right here somewhere. And come up and then go in and then kind of loop around and go back into that center. If you kind of realize that they're all going to the center, it somehow makes it a little bit easier, I think, to draw this. So then we're going to have it like the center curve that's coming down, and then this outer part of the petal makes kind of a squared off edge and does all this beautiful like little fluted thing. And it is obviously going to be a shape, you know, similar to like this, right? But it's curving away from us, so then it makes different shapes, and as we see it from the side, this is what's happening here. So it looks like this, even though it is the same shape, all these petals are this shape. Depending on the way they're turned, they may look like a line, they may look, you know, more rounded. Of course, it's, you know, the edges are not corners, but you get the idea. So just kind of pay attention to that. Don't let what your brain thinks it should you know, the petals should look like. Your brain will kind of trick you as you're drawing and think, you'll be like, oh no, but a flower petal is this shape, and you'll have kind of an idea of what the flower petal shape should be, and then you might draw that instead of actually what you're seeing. So just draw what you're seeing here as best you can. And the nice thing with flowers is that they're pretty forgiving, you know, get it close and it's good enough. Nobody knows, right? They're all very different and they all have their own unique qualities. So you don't have to be perfect with your drawing. Just get it as good as you can. So here's this center one that's coming straight up. This is part of it. It actually kind of got broken. The photo that I took was after a storm, and it had split right here, this petal right here. But I think I'm going to kind of close it up a little bit and go ahead and make it a little bit less broken right there. And coming down. Okay, and then we're seeing a little bit of this back petal here. That's coming out over here and wrapping around. And then this front one. So this is the back petal, and this one here is also part of that, I think, folded over. And it's going to be about even with this, so we'll kind of know that we're sort of in the general right area if we get it about even with this. So that's about right there. It's going to come across and kind of cut off. This is not a straight line, but you get the idea. Again, all of them are going into this same spot, so you kind of have to have these petals sort of ending up there. Right, then this one is coming out over and kind of curling up underneath, and there's some folds in here that we'll do. Okay, then there's this big petal right here that's going to take up the majority of this space right in here. It goes all the way to the edge, so it's going to start about halfway here. Curve out some more, in, back out, back in, down, cross, up, over, angle it in, cover up a lot of that stem, and then back in like that, okay? And then the direction of it is this, and there's a little fuzzy opening right there. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for a drawing. We'll go ahead and just start jumping in here and painting. Okay. Whoops, wrong end. Do I want to use that one? Let me think. Let's start out with it and see how it goes. All right, so let's go and grab some green. I'm going to paint back to front and get that stem in, and then we'll do the petals on top. So let's go ahead and just do that real quick here. Right up the middle just about. This petal is going to come over a little bit more than I did it, but I'm going to go ahead and put that green in anyways. Something like that. And then because it's so dark, it's not really showing up that well, so I'm going to get some white. And whenever you add white to green, you want to add a little bit of yellow to pop it back out to a brighter color, because that white will make it more of a sage green and won't keep that vibrancy. So if you want it more vibrant, which we kind of do, I do like that. And then get a little bit up here. Wipe that off. I'm going to get some burnt sienna and get in here in the center and just kind of do that transition area right there, a little bit right here, coming down. And then on the tip of it, get some white. I still had a lot of burnt sienna. I got a little bit of yellow. And I want that kind of dried color that happens on that, kind of that yellowish. Really, yeah, yellow oxide would probably be a similar color to what I'm seeing. But something like that. We'll put a little bit of it in here. It's just going to play around right there where they're tucking in, and a little bit on the stem. as it comes down. Okay, so that'll be good there. Again, we're going a little looser than we normally do. I have about 20, 25 maybe large flower series paintings, a lot of them. And there's a whole playlist of them. If you want to find that and pop it in the chat, it'd probably be good in case anybody's interested. And we did most of them on this 10 by 10 square canvas too, so they're all very similar shapes and they all look really nice together on the wall. And we have a lot of pink, so it was time for another blue flower. Decided, and that's when I took this photo this spring, I was like, yes, let's do that. Let's paint it. All right, so I think I'm going to grab a 4, let me see. No, let me grab the 6 Filbert. It'll be a little bit bigger, cover a little bit better area for me. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab this light blue, the light ultramarine. And this will be kind of our base color for the whole flower. It's got a good like mid to light value range. And we can mix it in. And I'm not going to worry too much about the values yet. I think I'm just going to try to get some color down. Actually, though, maybe I will. Now that I'm thinking about it, I might just mix it as I go so that I kind of get it done in one go, or as close to one go as I can on each of these petals. So that comes down there. I added a little bit of phthalo blue to it to darken it up right here where it comes down, and then right along that line there's a little bit of darker blue, and some of this darker blue in here. I'm going to see this darker blue, the phthalo blue, and think of it as a shadow color because it's got kind of that cool tone to it. And then I'm going to get some ultramarine blue and some phthalo blue and maybe just a touch of magenta to give it a little bit more of a reddish undertone. I'm going to use it in this darkest area of the flower right here. This will be our darkest value of the petals right in here. I'll use just a little bit of it up in here. Okay. All right, let me get some of the burnt sienna. I'm going to put it underneath that. There's a little bit of yellow peeking through in some places too in the background, but I'm going to wait, I think, for that. I'm going to clean this out because I've got a lot of colors on here, and I'm just going to blend in what I've got here. I kind of loaded in some darker areas, and now I'm going to go back in with my light color, my ultramarine blue light, mix a little bit of that darker blue in, and just kind of blend that up into it. And we're going over this black, so it's probably going to take a couple of coats to get over it totally. Getting some white here. This area's got a lot of white in it. Somebody was saying that they have a hard time with somebody before the chat, that was commenting on this one coming up. They said when they're painting flowers, the large flowers like this, they have a hard time with values, and they can do the midtones, but when they get the midtones in, they kind of lose all of their darker areas and kind of are, figuring out where to put those. So this is a way to try to avoid that, is to kind of like put them in as you go, as you see them, and try to kind of blend them in as you go. It can be a little bit trickier, but you won't end up with like a solid mass of color that way. I'm going to get a little bit of the magenta and some white and mix those two together, and I want that as kind of a color that I can dip into. So I'm just going to kind of mix that up. Oh, I got a hair. Okay. And I'm just going to grab grab some of that blue and mix those two together. You can see what's happening there. It's kind of creating a little bit more of a lavender color, so that'll be great for some of these areas. And another tool that you can use is your value finder. And before the show, I put it up against my image and saw that well, it's not there, that this area here, right here where it was darkest, was kind of in between these two. So then I can hold this up and kind of squint and see if I got it dark enough. And it should just kind of disappear a little bit if you got it dark enough. And then same thing with your lighter areas, like the lightest area on this petal, it was right in here. So that having a tool like this can really help you with your values, and using it on your reference photo and then against your work will kind of help you see things, because sometimes you get stuck in seeing all the same values, or it could just be your natural tendency as you paint to do that. And I think I got my drawing off a little bit. I'm going to move this over a little bit. But the more you do that and the more you kind of force yourself to go really dark and really light. Like that was one thing that I did, especially in college. I would show my professor my drawings and he would be like, okay, those are good. You've got the form right, or the shape of the item right. But I didn't have any form to it because I was keeping my values very light. I wasn't shading really dark. And that's what trips up a lot of artists when they're first starting. They don't go dark enough and they don't go light enough. So don't be afraid of really going in here and giving it some dramatic value shifts so that you've got really dynamic form happening in your object. Creates dimension and depth and all kinds of good things happen. Okay, so going back in there over the top of those darker areas and doing like that. Let's get that darker or the lighter stem in there. And then this part, I'm going to go ahead and fold it over, even though I said I wasn't going to, because I kind of do like that it's sort of broken and folded over. So I'm going to go ahead and fold it over right here, coming up. There. Yeah, we had our iris bloomed a long time this year. I realized I was breaking off after it bloomed, I would break it off so that it wouldn't go to seed, but I was breaking off it was putting two or three new flowers off that same nub. So I think last year I'd tore off some buds on accident. It's the first time it had bloomed in a while, so I was excited. We had moved them. All right, so there we go. I just got a little bit of dark underneath there to make it look like it's folded over. And let's go ahead and go back here. We'll come back to these areas, but I'm going to try not to fuss with these areas too much and at least get something down tonight, so that...
There you go. Just don't forget the feet.
Don't forget the feet. Okay. Yep. I'm famous for doing that with birds whenever I paint birds, so that's why he's telling me that. If you're like, what feet? Confusing people.
So we got an important question.
Getting some magenta here. Yes.
When is Fitz coming home?
I went and saw him today. I almost brought him home today. I almost did. He was so excited to see us, and he just seemed so sad. Which, then he went away. He went off with the lady just fine when he was leaving, So I know he's not being tortured. I just... so hard. He's coming home Friday. They were going to keep him over the weekend, and then they weren't open on Monday, and then they were. Here. I was like, no, I'm picking him up Friday. No, I can't handle it anymore. He's not staying there all weekend by himself. with nobody. No.
So to
No,
answer your
this is
question,
our dog that is
Angela
turning 3 tomorrow.
Angela's coping.
I'm coping, not well, but I'm coping. I'm gonna kind of just do like that, I think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put that black back in that area. I kind of opened that up thinking I would fix that, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm gonna do it like it is in the picture and do it more like that. Okay. All right. Yeah, so our dog is doggy daycare, doggy boot camp, learning to walk on the leash so he doesn't yank our arms out of the sockets anymore. But I don't know if it's going to work because he was pretty much yanking on the leash to see us today. So we'll see. Hopefully it was worth it. But yes, thank you for asking. Our new website is up and running too, but it's in testing right now. So we've got a legion of faithful patrons, wonderful ladies who are being very helpful by going through and testing each one of the videos, and I'm giving them each like blocks of 10 videos there's 725 videos on the site. And that's not videos, that's actual like paintings, I should say, and actual videos. There's over 900, I think. But some are part of series that are, multiple part series kind of things. So anyhow, yeah, that's been interesting. It's been a busy weekend trying to get that off the ground and get all the testing going, and lots of errors to fix before we want it to be just right before it goes live. So it'll be a little bit before we get it all handled, but hopefully not too much longer. But it'll be a place where you can go and see all of my videos, all the Patreon one, all the YouTube ones from way back to when I very first started. And I'm picking up some of that black from that I laid down over here, so I'm trying to fix it, but it's not covering, so I'm just gonna have to leave this alone and come back to it. But yeah, it's been interesting. I've got a lot of work to do left on it. But I think it'll be really nice, hopefully, for everybody to be able to go, and we'll be sure to announce it. Probably have maybe some, I don't know, we'll see. I haven't planned anything yet, but have some sort of launch party, some sort, maybe. Alright, some more white here. Kind of doing little fuzzies because that one's got like things sticking out up here. Right there along the end. This one has, instead of that traditional yellow, it's got the little white fuzzies on its tongue. I'm just skipping around here too. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, but I'm kind of just trying to see where I'm seeing these particular colors and going in and putting those values in. It's a little bit faster doing it that way than doing one area and then moving on to the next, because I can just use whatever's in my brush everywhere that I'm seeing that color. So I'm going to get some of this darker phthalo blue and put it under here all the way over to where it is blending into this pink here. And this is part of this petal that's behind, so I'm going to get some of that ultramarine blue and phthalo blue, mix that in just going to kind of go up underneath here where this petal is going to come up over, and then blend it down. Last week we talked about hard edges and soft edges. So here I've got a soft edge where I'm wanting to roll this color down into the color underneath, and I'm going to get some of my lighter blue and just come up over and try to get those to blend a little bit. Right, and then get a little bit of that darker blue down here again. I'm putting it in again, but I'm kind of adding a little bit of white just to make it stand out a little bit against that black. There we go. And then right here we're going to have a hard edge where two colors are meeting, and I want one to look like it's on top of each other. So I'm not going to blend the two edges together. I'm going to have this one have a nice hard edge, and that will make it look like it's on top of the other. Plus it will also be a different value, and I think I'm going to bring this whole petal up just a little bit, but it'll be a little bit lighter in value from that blue too, and so that will also help make it look like it's coming up over and overlapping that blue, that darker blue petal. Here I want a soft edge, so I'm going to blend that out. If you missed last week's video of the wishing well, I had a special little mini tutorial on the hard edges and soft edges and talked about that a little bit. So you can check that video out if you want to work on that. And all year long I've been kind of doing little mini lessons. I'm not going to do one tonight because we just have enough to do already with this one. I don't have time to stop to do a little lesson, but
No one ain't got time for that.
well, you know, but this one it ties into last week's really well, so it's pretty similar. All right, this is definitely an advanced lesson, so I would say this one is going to be one of the harder flowers to do in that large flower series. I have a Cosmo that I did about 2 months ago maybe, that was really easy. So I would start with that, do that one, do the poppy, do I'm trying to think of the daisy is pretty easy. Any of the flowers that had like a single color or maybe one or two colors, those are going to be much easier to tackle as a beginner than one like this that has, it is a single color, but it's got so many petals and intricate petals and the way they're overlapping and stuff, a lot of overlapping of petals. That always ups the difficulty value. I'm losing my voice. The overlapping of the petals increases the difficulty. So, all right, gonna go up here and pull that up. And this is all kind of fluted and in and out of each other, and lots of things going on there. All right, that looks pretty good though. Gonna bring that over. This is that lighter pink here. Still got a little bit of that black showing up right there. Doing the hard part first. This petal will be really pretty easy. This one and this one. This part is all really difficult, so I'm trying to tackle that quickly while we're in the beginning here. 30 minutes. All right, we're making decent time. All right, so this petal, it comes up and goes over and up into there. A little bit of that right Ultramarine Blue. I'm going to blend that in together. And these all kind of tuck in underneath this petal. So I'm going to kind of push it underneath there. And just blend all of this together right here.
Hey, which brush are you using right now?
This is the 6 Filbert. Okay, and then let's get this little bit that's sticking up right here. It's not at all where I drew it. I don't know. I always do better when I actually paint it. I can see it better for some reason than when I try to draw it. I just don't like drawing, that's it. True enough. I like to get in there and just throw the paint on there. Okay. This kind of looks a little funky, so I may correct that. I don't know, because it does look like it kind of doesn't belong to this flower, doesn't it? And truth be told, it could have been part of the flower behind it. But I think it was just a broken part of this petal that was bent over. So I might just make it a little bit bigger altogether. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of just make it a little bit more soft. I don't like the way it's looking. I mean, I think it would work, but I think I prefer it being a little bit less broken because it doesn't read as a iris to me. The outline of it doesn't seem, doesn't feel like a iris with it being so mangled. Okay, that's a little bit better, I think. It's still got that kind of general shape, but not as intense. Okay, so let's bring this up. I'm going to kind of square these petals, kind of square off when they bend over. So I'm squaring that edge off a little right there so it looks a little bit more bent. And just pulling that color up. Okay, that looks good. And then we want this to look like it's over the top, so I'm going to get some more of this light pink. A little bit of water because my paint's getting sticky over here. Let me spray it too, that'll help. And get more white. And I'm just going to leave what's on my brush in. There we go. A little bit brighter pink there. And I'm going to bring it up over right here. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper color. Outline it just a little bit. Okay. A little bit of phthalo blue. And I'm gonna correct this petal because I think it needs to be, I made it way too wide right here. I think I'm gonna bring it right there. Bring it up to there. And curl it over itself right there. Just filling that hole back in. Okay. Leave that alone so it can dry. Telling myself. Leave it. No touchy. No touchy that while it's drying. Okay, gonna get some of this kind of lavenderish color here. Can even get a little bit of the purple, maybe. We'll get a little bit of that Dioxazine Purple so I get a little more vibrant purple going on. I'm going to use that over here. Get a little bit deeper. Yeah, there we go. And there's some of this color in some of these folds in here. Get a little bit of that purple and a little bit of the blue. There's a tiny bit of white on here too, so it's kind of in giving a little bit of a white tint too. And definitely getting this in here where it's really dark. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of white to this color. This is that magenta and Phthalo blue or ultramarine blue, really. Or I'm sorry, it's the purple and Phthalo blue. I can use a little bit of the ultramarine blue too. But this goes almost down. I think I might bring it up just a little bit, but it goes almost down to the very bottom of this canvas here. And get a little bit of the whiter. Light ultramarine blue here. It's covering pretty well over the black, so I'm fairly happy with how it's covering. I'm just gonna dab it on and then pull it up, keeping an eye on the direction of the petals are flowing. And that's as I'm putting in all my colors, I'm always checking that and making sure that all my lines that I'm painting are going in the right direction. They're all kind of leading up into that neck and flowing. Getting some of that darker purple. There's a fold right here. Putting in any of the obvious stuff that I'm seeing. And again, kind of making a long sweeping brush strokes that'll cause streaks that are going in the right direction for me. Okay. How's it going? Chat doing good tonight?
I don't know. I was busy watching you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Distracting. No, chat's doing well.
Good. Good deal. Watching me paint?
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. By now you've watched enough of my paintings. You should be an expert if just watching it had anything to do with anything.
There's one assumption that you're making, which is I watch it. I mean, yes, I do sit in here with you while you're painting.
Yes.
There you go. Still amazes me.
Oh, yeah. It's fun. I enjoy the magic of painting. It's kind of, that should be our new logo for our website. The magic of painting. I hear the joy of painting has been taken, so. That was a good one. Good slogan.
The Angela of painting.
Oh. I don't think anybody would understand what that means. I feel like, what? I think that's a little even too narcissistic for even me, so.
But you have to capital the.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true. That was, who was that? Was that no, that was one of our friends that visited, one of our friends that moved out of state, and she, one of our other friends came to visit, and our friend was telling her about how she was showing, I think she was a real estate agent, or no, they were doing a charter boat something
Ferry.
Ferry, yeah. And the lady on her boat was talking about art and how she liked art, and she was like, oh, I have a friend that does art on YouTube. She's like, her name's Angela Anderson. Have you heard of her? And she was like, the Angela Anderson? So all my friends now, they tease me. They're like, the Angela Anderson.
Yes, the
So
Angela
funny.
Anderson.
Like, yep, the one and only. Actually, no, there is another Angela Anderson that's a artist that came before me that did. I used to get her emails all the time. Now she probably gets mine. Yep. Yep.
So if you're the fan in Maine that said that, let us know, please.
Yeah, it was in Maine. Yep. Yeah, I'd be curious. I've always wondered who it was, if I would know who they were, All right, getting some of this pinkish purple color here. And we'll just go ahead and keep on working this petal. And this area doesn't have a ton of value change. It's all kind of pretty much the same value. It's kind of mid-tone pinkish blue purple. I'm gonna get some more of that unbleached, or the light ultramarine blue, I mean. Get some of the purpley color. Yeah, there's some water droplets on here too that I'd like to get if we have time. Don't know if we'll be able to get to them, but I took this in the morning and there were some really pretty water droplets on the petals too. We'll see. Goals. Hashtag life goals. Life goals. It'd be good, like a little mini lesson that we could do for another time too. We could pick it up and add them if we don't have time tonight. Just adding little dry brushed highlights to some of those. But But again, look at the reference photo. I'm trying to get these colors kind of the same general value that I'm seeing in the reference photo as I'm putting them down, and that just saves me time from having to go back in and do this later, you know. I brought this down way too far for some reason, so I think I'm gonna push this back. I think I thought that this was but this was this petal that I was actually drawing, and yeah, so I'll push that back. That's part of this petal, and it goes up right there and back down. Okay, and then this is that white part that's in the middle, but okay. So let's separate these two. There's just a little bit of a darker line on this one. Okay, and then do the lines coming down. Let's get some of this darker purpley color here, maybe a little bit of magenta. Do my little creases that are in here. Just using the corner of my brush to kind of do these little crease marks. Wipe that out. I'm just going to blend that out a little bit. The more you do this kind of blending, this really quick, like little blends like these, the easier it'll be, and that's why I had that little hard and soft shadow, or hard and soft edged mini lesson last week, because it's just something that you come across occasionally, you know, where you've got this just tiny little area where you have to blend one thing into another. And if you've practiced doing it on your paper, then when you actually have to do it for real, you know, it'll come a little bit easier to you. So, and that's what all of those mini lessons are. You can think of them like scales on a piano, you know, where you're just, they may not really feel like you're doing anything because you're just practicing for the sake of practice, but they give you something to practice. Like they give you like little controlled lessons that will actually help you in the long run if you go through the effort of, you know, taking the time to do them on a regular basis. I got some of the magenta and a little tiny touch of yellow there to do like that little section in there. I'm going to get a little bit more yellow and go in with that right there. There's a little bit of it right here where this comes out, and then right in here. So I'd be curious to know in chat or in the comments if anybody's been doing them. I know some people have been because they've been sharing them with me, but if they've found that they have helped them or not, you know, in their lesson, you know, in their painting. And the lessons are, I think they started, what was the first one we did, honey? Do you remember? It was earlier this year, but we've done one almost with every video. And you can kind of look in the description of the video and it'll tell you what it covered, you know, if there was a mini lesson or not. I'm getting some of the darker green here and just Kind of adding a few little details to our stems. Getting my yellow and getting some white. Actually get that unbleached titanium because that's kind of that papery brownish yellow color that I'm seeing. Okay.
Looks like it was the macrame video.
The what?
Macrame?
No, it was a round canvas, I think. Because we did the... I think it was the one where we did the round canvas because we did color string. I think that was the first one that we did. Getting some of this light blue with the white, and this one is kind of our lightest petal. It was facing the sunlight. It's picking up a lot more light than some of the others.
Yeah, 4 months ago.
Yeah, so you can look there, and
January 17th.
just the YouTube videos we've been doing them. I'm eventually going to have them all compiled, but for now we're just kind of doing them randomly and in the videos, and then eventually we'll hopefully have a little short or something that'll have them all in them, or a short video. Somebody was like, "What's the point?" When I did a short the other day, that was her comment. "What's the point? I hate these." I was like, "Well, it's like free advertising, and some people like the shorter ones. At least they kind of get to see the process real quickly, and then if they want to watch the 2-hour version, they don't have to sit through it, or fast forward it. It's already there for you." So I particularly like them. I enjoy getting to see those. You can't use it for actual painting, along, but there's a long version for the actual painting. This is just a way to see what was done and check it out and see if you want to do it. Try to get maybe some people who don't watch the longer versions but do like art, may get some of them to watch our videos. They might come and check us out on a Tuesday night, so that's the point. It gives something for everybody. And we get comments all the time about, the way we talk and the way I teach, but I've been teaching this way for 30-something years. I don't think I'm about to start, so start changing. Yeah. I don't think I probably could, even if I wanted to, so.
We like you.
Oh, thanks. Some like you. Some don't, and some don't care. So some do. Some like you no matter what you do. Some people will hate you no matter what you do. And some people don't care either way. So you might as well just do what you do.
And we always appreciate people trying us out, but
Yes.
maybe they don't like chocolate. They like strawberry bear, and there's strawberry ice cream right there in the freezer too.
Yep.
You don't have to keep eating chocolate ice cream.
No, you don't have to leave a mean comment about it either when you go. So I don't know you, so
And so that's just a life lesson no matter what you're dealing with. So.
exactly. No skin off my back. I mean, of course, we want to make our audience happy, our core audience that has been with us for years and years, and we really do listen to you guys. But some random person off the street that wants to put in their opinion about how I should do my channel different, well, probably not going to listen to that. And that's okay.
But again, that's the same in life, no matter what it is.
Exactly. Oh no, exactly. And really, when you're doing your art too, I would bring it into that too, because you'll do your art and people will have an opinion about, oh well, if you use a traceable, then you're not a real artist, or if you do whatever, you're not a real artist, or if you use a tutorial, you're not a real artist. And well, we all have to start somewhere, and I know a lot of professional artists, some amazing professional artists that use traceables to, it's just a jump start. It doesn't mean they can't draw or, whatever, or make their art any less interesting or valid. It's just a tool, just like a brush is a tool. So if you think about it that way, it's like there's this whole community of gatekeepers that want to make art something that's not accessible, that wants to keep art as something that's kind of mysterious and only for the elite, who know the right way to do it. And I just don't subscribe to that at all. I'm just like, no. Art is so therapeutic. Art is so healthy for you. It's so good for you, your soul, your spirit, your body, everything. Everybody should be doing art, I think. But of course I'm biased, so. But at least don't keep people from enjoying it if they want to try. My goodness, why would you do that to somebody? Yeah. So that's why I do my YouTube videos. All right. And I came across a lot of that snobbery when I was in college for art, and I wanted to do Bob Ross style stuff, and they wanted us to do really weird stuff, and I just was like, I just want to know how to paint a tree, like, is there something wrong with that? Like, what? They didn't teach techniques, and I was just frustrated beyond belief. Just wanted to know how to do it, how to put the paint on canvas. And so that's why I teach this way, because I want people to be able to paint what they want to paint. So I give them the tools to do that.
Yep, and there's other teachers out there that teach different methods and different ways and different styles. And
that's fine too.
That is awesome.
Yep. There's so many different amazing teachers out there now. When I first started doing YouTube, there was me and 3 people. I don't know. There wasn't that many of us. Not many at all. But now there's a whole slew of different artists out there. We've been doing tutorials since 2012.
2011.
Well, 2012, I think, was the first tutorial.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And God bless you if you watched those early videos and said, you know what, this
wonderful.
Is awesome.
I know.
I'm going to subscribe.
You are. There's a few that are still around, which is a miracle, because they were bad. They were really bad. I watched one the other night because we're doing the new website, and I'm adding white here, white highlights. The new website, and I was checking the videos to see if they play properly and stuff, and the video I was sending people to my blog to share their paintings with me. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody's still doing that, because I don't check my blog ever. Like, Yeah, it's so funny, you know. That was that, and that wasn't that long ago, you know, either. It's like maybe 5-10 years ago, but so much changes so quickly in with technology anymore. It's crazy. I have a Facebook group for that now, so if you're interested, there's links down in the description. But yeah, all right. All right, getting some purple here. I'm just going to kind of create the center for this flower. I feel like it needs to be defined a little bit more, so I'm going to bring it over and around there. We're getting close. So now we just have to kind of soften, you know, and blend and strengthen our values changes and things, but we're getting pretty close to where we want to be on a lot of it. Get a little bit more of that ultramarine blue with the light ultramarine, do kind of a mid-tone for right in here. Get that lighter color here, bit of white. Okay, we just have to kind of let those layers dry. I'm gonna clean out this brush, and I think I'll use a different brush and wipe off my chalk marks while I'm waiting. Just a damp paper towel here. Make sure your paint's dry while you're doing this, or you'll lift it off, obviously, but this is not dry, so yeah, I lifted it a little bit there. There we go. Nope. Okay. Too shabby. And really, you could probably do it a little bit blockier like this and call it good if you wanted to. But if you want to take it, you know, a little bit farther, I'm going to get my round brush here, and I'm going to clean off my workspace because I've just got a lot of drying paint here. Also, we'll give my paint a little extra time to dry. Okay, I can't, this is not popping back into place. Alright, I'm going to have you do that because it won't pop back into place for me. You got it working? I just opened it up. You're the one that changed out the thing. I was tapping it against the side, but it wouldn't open. When I first opened it, it didn't open. Right. Sorry, little fight.
That was a knockout track out right there.
Yeah, I was. I didn't do what you did. Man. Okay, getting some white. And some of my magenta. Come on. Yeah, that's definitely getting sticky. I need to spray that a little bit. And get a little bit of that unbleached titanium, or the light ultramarine. Okay, so there's our kind of lavender color. And then let's do kind of a darkish purple color with this. Maybe a little bit of the unbleached or magenta. And yeah, let's go ahead and try the unbleached titanium there. Okay, so all I did was open it just like I always do, and it, I don't think the thing was in there right or something. Okay, getting some ultramarine blue, and let's go ahead and do just a little bit of white, keeping it fairly dark. I still have some of that purple on my palette knife, so just kind of getting a little bit of that too. Nice. Let's get a little bit of the phthalo blue, some of that unbleached titanium. That's going to be a lot more turquoisey. And there's not a whole lot of the turquoise in there. Here, I've got it, kind of got a lot of it in here, so I'll probably end up toning that down a little bit, but we'll have it in there just in case. And then let's mix up some magenta with our ultramarine. Kind of more on heavier on the magenta side. Actually, maybe I want to go a little heavier on the blue side. So maybe 50-50. And then some white. These are the colors that I kind of was using, but I'm just going to mix some fresh. Now that's a really pretty purple, isn't it? That's that magenta and the ultramarine blue. So I want to go a little bit more blue since we've already got our purple here. And I could probably, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and scrape that up. And let's go ahead and grab the rest of my magenta there. Oops, it's got some orange or some yellow picked up there. I'll go ahead and have that as a option. I'm seeing just a tad of that kind of more reddish color in a few places, so I'll use that. Okay, so I think I might just do kind of more of like a magenta with a little bit of this color, this ultramarine blue and white mixture with it. Okay, a little bit brighter pink. And then of course we've got our light ultramarine blue. I'm going to use this. This is a fluid version. is called Australian Sky Blue, but it's ultramarine blue and white, just like our other color here. But it's a little bit softer because my paints are drying out, so it'll help. All right, so we're only an hour and 10 minutes. All right, so we're doing good. We're doing good. We just got a little bit, just want to kind of fine tune it a little bit more, but I think we can hit our 2-hour mark that we're hoping for. I think it's doable. We rocketed through there, and I apologize. I wasn't calling out the colors probably as much as I should have, but you can see on the palette what I'm doing, and hopefully figure it out from there if I missed any steps. Okay. So on here, we're needing more light tones, more highlights, more light tones in here. I think we're pretty close. Like if I look at my value finder, like nothing is disappearing, right? Everything is, maybe that one is fairly close to that lightest value. It's kind of closer to that probably. So I need more of that in these areas where it's supposed to be brighter, there and there. And of course we're going to put the bearded tongue in here, but I'm not going to do that until I get the rest of it kind of situated. But our darkest areas, I think we got dark enough. So our darkest areas were supposed to be in between these two, and those are, where are they? Right here. Yeah, see how it disappears, kind of? Yeah, it's really that color. It's that value, because then you can see it there, right? But then there it disappears. So that's how you know what value it is. It's that one. So that's where we want to be, in that middle. We're spot on right there. And the nice thing about this value finder too is that you can kind of check yourself and make sure you are hitting all the full spectrum of values, and sort of where you're, you know, maybe we're a little bit dark in here, that kind of thing. So, but I think we're pretty close to where we want to be. All right. I'm going to switch to this round. I think it'll maybe give me a little bit more control. And I want to check, I think I want that yellow to go up a little higher right there. So I'm going to get a little bit of my yellow, tiny bit of the burnt sienna. And bring that up just a little bit right there. And then there's some of the yellow that kind of comes up from the base of this up into this flower here. Getting some weight. Okay. And then there's some of this kind of magenta red color. Actually, just kind of plain old magenta down here. Where that's coming down, and on this side of it too, right in here. There's a little triangle of it right there. And then I'm going to bring this up, this tongue up a little bit. Maybe get some of the darker blue. Bring this tongue of this one up a little bit. Cover this a little bit more right there. And then this darker blue on this part here that's kind of in here. I'm going to pull some down. Get little bit of glaze, a little bit of the water with this dark blue. And just do these lines that I'm seeing in here. Coming down. Okay. This side is a little bit more pink. Glaze, water, whatever helps it be a little bit more flowy. Darken it up just where it's going down into that. And there's a little bit of that turquoisey color right there. Getting some of that light green. And you notice I've already, painted some of these areas, but I'm going back in and just adding new colors and new layers, and it just kind of gives it a lot more depth and flavor, having all these different tones of green and things happening and overlapping each other. And then I've got an area in here. I'm going to get a little bit of burnt umber with my green. Got an area in here that's really dark. And right in here. Right in here. Get some of that brighter green down here. Okay. Our cat, do you hear her? Can they hear her meowing like that? She's only been doing that like this last week. I don't know what she's doing just the last couple days. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden she's just, every time you lock the door on her, close the door on her, she does this really like howling, sad cry. She sounds so pitiful. Can't help. She's getting her way. So the problem, she's going to keep doing it if we keep letting her in when she does it. She's learning. Hey, this gets their attention. Let's do something different. She's like 16 years old, so we're all just kind of keeping an eye on her, health watch, always on the alert for anything new. Got some health issues. Oh, all right. So there we go. Sorry, talking about my cat. Setting these down. I'm going to get some of this pink here. I'm going to go right here. Out, kind of carve it out a little bit and then up. This may look like I'm kind of, overdoing, but we'll blend it in. I'm just kind of trying to give it some of that detail that it's missing. And then we'll blend these all in.
So she's not worried about Fitz. She's actually loving Fitz not being here. Somebody said maybe she's missing Fitz. No, it's quite opposite.
Oh, Cashmere? Yeah, no, she's been
Jumping up on our laps.
exactly. Oh yeah, she's taken it full advantage.
Fitz is kind of a jealous puppy. He doesn't want others to be
On our laps.
taking our attention. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's like enjoying the whole.
Yeah, she's enjoying having mom and dad to herself. Yeah, although I think she might be lonely when she's by herself. Yeah, I do think there is some of that to it. We went away this weekend, so it could have been she's feeling a little separation anxiety or something.
Even before, though.
Yeah. Right, getting some white here, picking up some of that light ultramarine. I still had that purple in my brush, and I'm just gonna kind of go back over what I just added here and blend it in a little bit. This may not be the right brush for this. I don't know. It's not gonna blend all that well, but I can get smaller details, so I'm kind of sacrificing blendability for being able to get into some of these tighter spots and get some details in. Okay. So like right in here, it's kind of a hot mess. I'm going to get some of that darker blue and come back over. Well, it's lacking definition now. It's all kind of blending in. So I'm just having to kind of go back in and put back in some darker blue that I took out when I added that. Or maybe get the, I don't know why I'm doing that. I've got this color right here. Get some of that darker blue and putting that back in right here. Well, I had mentioned that this was probably a little bit dark up through here, so kind of also correcting my too light area. I'm going to get some white. And this is the fluid white, so let's see if this helps or not. But let's kind of figure out what we're doing here. This is kind of a split that kind of comes over. Listen to that. Like she's being really... What's going on with her?
Did Spencer lock you out?
And then she's completely fine because as soon as you open the door, she's like, you know, like little stinker.
Spencer lock you out?
Oh, hi, Father. Did you hear that earth-shattering cry that I just... blood-curdling howl that sounded like I was dying? Oh, thank you. I'm glad you noticed.
I'm just right here.
I'm just gonna... Hi. What? Hi. Okay. I need your lap, I guess. Cashmere. She's a mess. Oh, she's happy. She's in the studio. She got what she wanted. So now she's going to start doing that during my shows on Tuesdays or Thursdays when I'm by myself. They're going to be not happy.
What? Would you be making all that noise?
Yes.
No.
Daddy just showed me it worked, so. All right, getting a little bit of this blue in my white, mostly white, and I'm going to put in this lighter values that I need in these areas here.
Which brush did you grab?
This is the 4 round.
4 round?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention I just said I got a round. Didn't mention the number. I'm wiping that out. I'm going to just kind of pull that paint down. And again, I'm going to try to go for as close to realism as I can get in 2 hours, so may not be as detailed as some of my other. I've got another iris that is also ironically blue, but again, my favorite color of iris, so but it was like a little bit darker blues, and I think it took me 6 hours, I want to say, so it's a lot more detailed. It's in the bathroom if you want to grab it. I don't know if I want to show it or not, but
Okay.
yeah, it's in the
Which bathroom?
laundry room. Bathroom
Okay.
on the shelf. Okay, getting some of that pink. And then a little bit of the darker purples, which I already had, but I'm adding new so that I can blend. I'm adding them fresh so I can blend them. I think when I get my, I'm gonna try with this one. This is the blender. Get some of this white and get up in through here. Okay, yeah, so that's the 6-hour version. It's got a lot of detail, especially in that tongue and all these areas there. Blue and purple. That was I think that's in my challenge for if anybody's interested in doing that one. That one's the $10 level on Patreon, the challenge level. It was a few years ago. We did that. The nice thing about the challenge videos is I can take my time. It's not like Tuesdays where I'm on the clock and trying to get things done before Mark has to go to bed. Just adding my light areas here. And I'm using this blender brush so I can kind of blend. It's just kind of faster to blend. Okay, so that's working pretty good, I think. Get some of my blue added in some of these areas in here. Get my white. And anywhere that I put that bright white, it's gonna pull that whole petal part forward, so that part of the petal now will look closer to us. Right. See, now that's kind of, and then let's flip this up so it looks like it's catching the light too. It's kind of coming towards us a little bit. There. And here. And maybe a little bit right there. And then wipe it off. And just kind of work those edges out until they blend in. This brush makes it really easy to get these kind of soft blends. I'm going to get a little bit of the light ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to go over this purple because it's a little bit dark, and I'm just going to use that light ultramarine and kind of graze over that to soften up that line just a little bit. Okay, looks pretty good. Let's do a little bit up here. Let me get some of the pinky purple color. Okay. Getting some of the ultramarine blue and turquoise here, and I'm going to kind of put it over right there and blend out this area into that pink that I just did. Some white and some of my just whatever blues left on my brush here. Get a little bit of the white kind of just on the corner. There's a little white that kind of comes down right there. How that pulled that whole petal forward right there, didn't it? Gonna blend it out a little bit. I'm blending out both sides of it so it's sort of soft and looks like a crease rather than a new petal. Although that may be a new petal, actually. I'm not really sure. It's hard to tell in my picture. Okay. Getting some white dry brush here. Okay, we're getting real close. What time is it? 7:30. We're doing good. Okay, we're doing good. I'm going to get some pink. Kind of go over this area with a little bit of pink.
Someone just asked, is that pure white?
Yes. Yes. But because I haven't cleaned out my brush, it's blending a little bit with what's on my brush, so it's not going to the canvas completely white. You know, I'm wiping my brush off, but then picking up the white straight from the dirty brush, and so it's picking up a little bit of the pink or blue or whatever it is that I just used. So it's not fully white. Got just a little hint of tint. Okay. Do a little crease right there. Blend out either side of it. My plan to blend didn't blend really well on this side, so I'm going to get a little bit of blue and go back in with the blue. See how that does? Those kind of soft edges there. Creates a really nice look. Then I'm going to get kind of some of this turquoisey blue from under here. Wipe my brush out and just kind of blend it in with all that's going on right here. And these are definitely, you kind of got to do these all kind of together because this white can dry pretty quick. So going back in and adding a little bit of that white because I didn't want to blend for me right there. A little bit. And if I load it just kind of on the corner, I can kind of place it a little bit more carefully. This brush is pretty fuzzy, which makes it nice for the blending, but not so nice for being precise. You know, it doesn't give you a clean line sometimes when you want it. So I'm gonna go in here and kind of put a little bit of a fold right here, or just a little shadow on my light area. Get that white. And all this is doing is just, we're creating these hard and soft shadows around. Anytime you've got this hard edge like this is going to pull that petal forward, make this one look behind it. And then when I blend into one another like this, it's going to make it look like that petal is folding, but not overlapping anything, if that makes sense. So just kind of playing with it. I'm gonna go back in here with my blender and add some of these little quirky details that I'm seeing in through here. Blend out some of that. What are you laughing at? Oh yeah, it's just tweeting. That's lots to say. We've had a painted bunting that keeps visiting our feeder lately, so this year has been nice. He's been visiting almost every day. Him and the indigo buntings, really pretty, fun birds that we get here in Arkansas. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of outlining right here. I'm gonna get a little bit of white and just kind of bring it around like that, and then I'm going to get a little bit of this darker purple and sort of do the same thing down here and sort of bring that tip around and kind of seeing some different lines. So this is where you can kind of get as detailed as you want with these, you know, little lines and things. There's plenty of them to kind of put in if you want them. I'm going to go on either side of this white line. I kind of already had done that, but I ended up kind of painting over some of it. So just going back over some of these and putting them back in. And then like so right in here, maybe doing a little bit of this lighter turquoise just down here. Just to highlight that coming around. There's a little bit of a highlight on this little bit right here that's coming up and around. Pay attention to these little curves and things. That's what really add interest to the flower. All these little dips and curves. And then where this one comes over, it's not really defined much in the picture, but I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of purple and just kind of outline it slightly. And that might be a little too much, so I'm just going to kind of try to blend that out a little bit, get some of that pink that was there, and maybe a mid-tone instead of that darker color, so it's not so obvious. But there we go. Okay, we're getting pretty darn close. Let's go ahead and put some highlights over here. on this one. I haven't done them down here yet. Getting that white. Maybe a little bit of the blue. I'm going to kind of let these be sort of streaky. Kind of already did it there, a little bit here, a little bit through here. Yeah, okay, getting there. And get some of that blue, light ultramarine. It's a great color if you do flowers or landscapes, because it's like a really good like color for distant mountains and stuff. And it's just nice to have it pre-mixed, you know. So I like to recommend it as like a, once you get all the main colors, a color, you know, if you're looking to add to your palette with some interesting, you know, fun colors. It's one of those that I would pull in, is that light ultramarine blue. I use it more than any of the other light colors, like light orange and light phthalo blue. It's just really useful. Okay, so we are getting real close here. Let's go ahead and add our spikies, and then we can see if there's anything else we want to do, but I think we're fairly close. I get my white. This time I am going to go fairly bright and come down here and do my little, that is foamy. I don't want it to be. You see how it's separating? You can see the canvas through it. It's too watery. I don't want it to be like that. So I may have to use my heavy body acrylic. I'm going to see if I can get this a little thicker though. There, that's better. And you want a little bit of dark color underneath here, so don't leave it white underneath where you're doing this, because this darker color will help, you know, give it some depth. So. And just leave a little bit of it peeking through here and there. Okay, and then I'm going to get my yellow and just transition to the yellow spikes. And really kind of just dabbing those. Okay. And then up here, we already kind of did these ones a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more. And that's going to be right on that line there, so I kind of didn't place that center line right, because this was going to lay on that center line, so I need to bring that center line up. I'll bring this down. Does that make sense? This line here needs to meet up with it. So I'm just going to get some of the ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of that purple, and just come up underneath that and bring it up. And it's fine that that other line is there, it doesn't matter. But this is that tongue lays on that center line, so they have to meet up. Okay. And just kind of blending those out a little bit so they don't look like the outlines, but kind of fit with the rest of what's going on there. Then I'm going to put some of that white over the top of that purple right there where it's coming out. Just a few little bits on that tongue there. Getting the light blue. This paint is pretty watery. Probably want heavy body acrylic for this, but I'm being lazy because this is already out. So I'm just going to use it until it doesn't work for sure. Getting some blue. I'm going to kind of fix this part where it's going down into the flower. Gets a little bit darker right there. A little bit more turquoise maybe. And that turquoise is from a filter, so this is not. The color was much more of a purpley blue, but I just like the filter, what it did with the other colors. It added more pinks, pink tones and things to the overall look, so I just liked it. How's it going? No questions? You can start taking questions if you want. I'm almost done here.
We do have some questions.
All right.
Good thing I took pictures of them because they fell off our little thing there. Okay. This one was back towards the beginning of the video.
Okay.
It says that you had mentioned to add yellow to green to keep it vibrant when adding white.
Yes.
Would a person add orange to red when adding white?
Either orange or yellow, yes. Yes, if you don't want it to be pink. Yes.
Okay.
You find a complementary color that is closer to the tone that you're wanting. So if I wanted my red to be more magenta, I would add magenta. If I wanted it to be more orangey, then I would add orange or yellow or whatever's on the other side of the it on the next nearest color or the next nearest primary color.
Okay. The next question was, what black is better for underpainting, Mars black or oxide? Which one looks sharper, and what's the difference between the two?
Mars and carbon black are pretty close. Close cousins, as far as like darkness. Those are probably my two choices for deep black. And the I don't remember what video it was that I compared blacks to, but well, I'll get out my color chart here and show you, but I'm just realizing that this tongue was way too dark. I needed it to be brighter to bring it forward a little bit more, so and then like right there, to be a little bit brighter for the petal underneath to pop. Okay. Let me pull out my black. So there's your blacks and their undertones. Ivory black is a little bit more brownish. I found it a little bit more transparent too. It just doesn't seem to cover as well as Mars or Carbon, but they both have a very like solid neutral undertone. Carbon is a little bit shinier, I find, in the right light, you know. And then Payne's Gray has got ultramarine blue in it. Bone Black is more of a translucent black, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It shows opaque there, but I think it's got some translucency. But anyhow, so yeah, either the Mars or Carbon Black are good choices. All right. Oh, I always go in way more detail than they asked me to. Sorry. Don't start me on colors because I like to compare colors.
Okay, we got another question.
Okay.
Can ox gall be used in the water for acrylics to slow the drying?
You know, I don't know. I don't know how it reacts to acrylic paints, so you'd have to look that up on a website where you buy it or whatever. But yeah, I've never used it.
Watercolors.
Yeah, if it's a watercolor medium, I'd probably tend to not, because the watercolor mediums, the base for watercolors and acrylics is totally different. So
what is used for?
Because gum arabic or honey is used for watercolor, and with acrylics it's acrylic polymer. So it's totally different bases that you're talking about. So, and you know, with oils, you know, it's different too. So anyhow, you really tend to not want to mix your mediums between the different types of paint, unless it's, you know, something that you know is made for it, you know.
Do you want super chat?
Sure, we can do super chat.
All right.
Get some pink hair. I'm just adding to my highlights here and just blending them into what I've already got. So not really adding any new information necessarily, just...
And then we'll have some more questions at the end too.
Okay.
Super chats. Alrighty, we'll get the super chats running here real quick. The first super chat's from Vivian. It's a pair character putting his hand in front of his mouth while blushing.
Oh.
So
cute.
Thank you, Vivian, for that.
Thank you.
Let's see. The next one is from Angela.
Oh.
Says
Thank you for this therapy. You're amazing. Oh, thank you, Angela. Thank you very much. It's therapy for me too, trust me. I look forward to it.
Then we have one from Cindy.
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
Says thanks again.
Oh, sweet.
Thank you very much, Cindy. We appreciate
Very
that.
Sweet.
And then one from Cuddly says, my mom's favorite flower. This is beautiful.
Thank you. Mine too.
Incredible.
I do have to say, peonies and English roses, which to me look almost identical in some ways, those run a close second. And larkspur. I like any blue flower, though. Larkspur and all the blue tinted flowers. But yeah, this one is definitely one of my favorites in the garden. Is that dark? These really baby blue.
Then we have another question here.
Oh, so, okay.
This is okay.
Talking.
Diane wants to know, what is your technique to keep from lifting the color below?
Let it dry. You've got to let it dry. If you're every time you blend it turns to a mess. Oh, okay. Okay, so it sounds like if that's what's happening, Diane, you're just blending it for too long. You have to find that time. Once it starts to feel sticky, just back off and let it dry and then put another layer on top. But if you keep trying to blend it while it's trying to dry, it will do that. It'll start to get really gummy and make a mess out of it. So it just sounds like you're trying to blend for a little bit too long. Do smaller areas and do them quickly and get them close and then stop, and then you can do it again as many times as you need to, but just over blending will do that, because what happens is those acrylic polymers start to bond once they start to dry, and they will stick to each other, and they'll stick to your brush, and they'll stick to and then you'll end up with a big gummy mess if you keep messing with them while they're trying to dry. And that's all it is you're just kind of disturbing their nap. They're trying to dry and they're being grumpy, and they're gonna make you pay. So just let them dry in between your layers, and you'll be good. You'll have a easier time of it. I'm gonna just go ahead and brighten up this whole area across here.
Okay, we have another question.
Okay.
Bailey would like to know, do you know and plan each layer from the start, or do you just see it as you progress?
Yeah, I see it as I progress. I just kind of try to get the general colors in my mind before I start. I kind of like have an idea of where I'm going to put what colors. Like I looked and saw that there was a lot of turquoise in different places, and where I saw some pinks and things like that. So I kind of have a general idea, and then I do kind of usually get out my value finder and get an idea of where my brightest values are, my darkest values are before I start, so that I'm keeping that in mind as I'm painting and making sure that I'm staying true to those values. But as I get going, then, sometimes I just kind of get lost in the process. I don't paint these ahead of time, and I don't plan them ahead of time. I just kind of let them develop as I'm going, and for good or bad, sometimes it works, and sometimes I get done with one and I'm frustrated because I feel like I could have done better, but that's the way, it's not a science. So that's the way it is with any kind of art. You just do the best you can, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And a lot of times if you, what I suggest, if you're like, especially if you're planning on doing one like this for like, and it's your first time trying, some of these techniques or this kind of a painting, or you're wanting to do it on a big canvas, maybe for, a gift or something like that, and you don't want to mess it up, quote unquote. I would do it on a smaller scale and test it and see where your strengths and weaknesses are, see what, worked and didn't work for you, and get one under your belt, like just do one, get a feeling for it, and then do it on your bigger canvas. And that's what a lot of artists, do. They're called studies, and they're just small versions of the larger paintings, and they literally do use them to study and figure out, where they want to use colors and which values they want to use and that kind of thing. Composition, things like that. Working out all of your problems before you start on the big canvas. So, no, I don't plan it, though. I don't know how I got on that from what you asked me, but I always offer more information than anybody ever asks. Okay. I think we're good. Shoo, that was quick for 2 hours. I got more detail in it than I expected to, honestly. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm sure there's things that I missed, and I'll probably, get done with it and think, oh, I should have done this. But, it is what it is at this point, and I'm just going to call it good and be happy with it, and hope you guys liked it too. All right. thank you so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this and what flower you might want to see in our next large flower series. I'm not done with these. I love them. They're one of my favorite things that we've started doing on our channel. We've been doing them for years now, and I like to do one every couple months, 2 to 3 months, do another large flower. So if we can, give me some ideas, I'm happy to hear them. And as always, thank you so much to our patrons who make these free videos possible. They support us, and they've helped us buy new cameras, new audio equipment, new everything, new lighting. Everything that you see here that is different from our older videos is due to our patrons. So they're awesome, and if you want to become one, you can sign up there at patreon.com/AngelaFineArt. And we're going to be doing, let me show you what we're working on in the $10 level. I mentioned that before, that this one that I painted before was the $10 level. You get access to all our old videos. We've had them going since 2017. This is what we're working on right now. We work on it on Thursdays all through the month, and just work on it until we're done. So we've got a little bit of water and some more trees and things to add, but we're almost done with this one. Is our one for May, and we'll be starting a new one next month, and you have access to all the old ones when you do, and you also get to be one of our testers on our new website if you're interested in that. We are very close to being ready, so I'm really, really excited about it. You think you're going to love it. It's going to be awesome because you'll be able to search for all of our videos in one place, and it'll make it much easier to find things for our patrons. So, all right, that's it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next week. I don't know what we're painting next week. What are we painting? Oh, a vase, I think, with some flowers, some zinnias, another garden photo that I took from our flowers or zinnias last summer. So it's part of our teapot series. So another one in that series. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.